Hey everyone, welcome to Data Millennials. I'm Atul, and in this video we are going to work with built-in function in Python. So before we write code using built-in function in Python, let's understand about the built-in function in a little detail. So as you know, Python is a high-level programming language known for its readability and simplicity, and it offers a rich set of inbuilt functions that simplify many of our programming tasks. These functions are always available for use without the need of import of any external modules. They are essential tools that contribute significantly to the Python's efficiency and ease of use. So inbuilt function in Python perform a wide variety of tasks ranging from basic operations like arithmetic and type conversions to more complex functionalities like data manipulation and iteration. So let's see some categories of inbuilt function that we use in a day-to-day basis. So first of all, we'll see the mathematical functions. The first one is absolute function, second one is round, and third one is par. So this ABS function returns the absolute value of a number. Round function rounds a number to a specific number of decimal places, and POW, which is power, returns the value of x raised to the power of y. So let's go through each of these functions in the mathematical function one by one and write a very simple Python code to understand these functions, that how we can use it. Okay, so let's say that I have a variable which is negative number. Okay, and in this negative number I'm getting the value minus 10. Now if I print this negative number, I'll get minus 10 in my output. But what if I need to change this minus 10 which is coming as the value? So let's say there is a system from which you are getting the numbers, okay, and that system has some glitch due to which a negative sign is added in the positive numbers. Now you want to change that negative number to positive number. Then how you can do that? You can simply take this negative number and use it with this ABS function. So let me declare a result variable absolute value equal to ABS, the function which I'm going to use, and then I'm going to give the argument, this x argument, which is nothing but negative number, and then I'm going to print this absolute value over here. Okay, now if I run it, I'm getting 10. So this minus 10 is because of this print negative number, but when we use the absolute function or ABS function on this negative number, then it changed into positive number and it got printed. So minus 10 is assigned to a variable which is negative number. Then we are using this ABS function to change that negative number or to compute the absolute value of that negative number and assign it to the absolute value variable, and then we are printing it. Let's talk about this round function now. So we have this round function. So this round function basically helps us to round a number to a specific number of decimal places. So let's assume that you are getting a float number from your system. Okay, let's say that 3.14159. Now if I want to round this number till 2 point, which is 14, and I want to get the output 3.14, in that case I can use this round function. I'll declare a variable rounded number, and then I'm going to use this round function. Within this round function I'm going to give this float number as the argument, first argument, and the second argument is n, which is like till which decimal point you want to round it. So I want to round it till 2 decimal points. Okay, now if I print this rounded number, you can see that we have 3.14 instead of 3.14159. Now let's talk about this par function. So this par function returns the value of a number raised to the power of y. So let's assume that you have a base number 2 and you want to have the exponent of that, and the exponent is 3. If you want to calculate the power, then you can basically take a variable in which you can use this power function. The first argument will be base and the second argument will be exponent, and then if I print this power result and if I run this, you can see that we have 8. So if you basically take 2 to the power 3, you will always get 8. So over here what we have done is that we have assigned 2 to the variable base, we have assigned 3 to the exponent variable, then we have used this POW function which basically computes the base raised to the power of exponent and assign the result to the power result variable, and then we are printing it over here. Now let's talk about another function or another built-in function in Python, which is type conversion function. So for type conversion function, we would be looking at these three functions which any data analyst uses on a day-to-day basis: the int, float, and str. So this int function converts a value to the integer, this float function converts a value to float, and str converts a value to a string. So let's define a float number 3.14 and I want to change it into integer number. So simply what I can do is that I can put a result variable. In this result variable, I can simply take this int function. Within this int function, I can take this float number as the argument. And if I print this result, you will see that we have 3 as the output. So what we have done over here, we have taken 3.14 and assigned it to the variable float number. Then with the help of this int function, we converted the float number to an integer number and assigned it to the result variable, and then we are printing that result variable over here. Now let's talk about this float function. So let's say that I have a string representation of a number. So let's say I'm putting a string number equal to, within double quote I'm putting 3.14. I know that this is a number, and due to certain issue in the system, you might have seen that numbers are coming as a text, right? So assume that this is the scenario. Now you have to convert this text number value into actual float value. For that you can simply use the float function. So let's take another variable result. In this variable result, I'm gonna use this float function. Within this float function, I'm just going to give this string number over here as an argument, and then I'm going to print this result. So let me run this first. So now we are getting 3.14. So what we have done over here, we have assigned 3.14 to a variable string number. This float function converts the string number to a float and assign it to the result variable, and then we are printing it over here. Now let's talk about this str function in type conversion function. So let's assume that we have an integer number equal to 10 and I want to convert this 10 to a string type. So what I can do is that I can put result equal to str as a function, and then within str I'm going to give this, okay, let me correct the spelling, integer number. I'm going to take this integer number and put it over here, and then I'm going to print this result. So if I run this, you can see that we are getting 10. Now if I print the type of this result, I should get str. So you can see over here we have str as a type, but if I print over here the type of this integer number, we should get the class int. So we are getting class int over here, then 10, and then class str. So what's happening over here, we are assigning 10 to a variable integer, then we are checking the type of that integer number, which is int. Then with the help of this str function, we convert the integer number to a string and assign it to result variable. Then we are printing the result, and we are checking the type of that result, which is str now. Now let's talk about the data type function in Python. So we are going to see three different data type function that has been used by every analyst. Okay, the first one is len, which gives you the length of an object. The second one is type, which returns the type of the object which we have used over here. Okay, and the third one is instance, which checks if an object is an instance of a specific class or not. So first of all, let's define a variable. Okay, variable equal to 3.14. Okay, now if we want to get the type of this variable the way we had done over here, if we want to get the type of this variable, then what we can do, we can simply say result equal to type function. Within this type function we have to give the argument which is variable for us. Now if I print result, I should get float because 3.14 is a floating point number. So if I run this, okay, I'm getting an error because name error we have. Okay, I'm very bad with spellings, so let me correct it and again run it. So we are getting float over here. Okay, as we have worked with float, we missed this len function, right? So let me give you an example of this len function also. So let's define a list. Okay, so I'm defining a my list equal to, and within this list, let's say I'm giving certain numbers. Now if I want to know how many items are present in this list, then with the help of this len function we can get that. Okay, so if I put result equal to len of this my list, and then if I print result, then you can see that we are getting 5 over here, and actually we have 5 different items over here. Okay, not different, but 5 items are over here. So this len function helps you to get the length of an object. This type function over here helps you to return the type of an object. Now let's talk about isInstance. So the isInstance function helps you to check if the object is an instance of a specific class or not. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to declare a variable again. Let's say that I'm declaring variable equal to 10, and I'm going to check if the variable is an instance of integer class or not. So I'm going to say is int, my variable is int, in which I'm going to save the result, and I'm going to use is instance, and then I'm going to give the first argument, which is nothing but this variable, and then I'm going to give the second argument, which is my type or class integer int. Okay, now if I print is int, and if I run this, you can see that we have true over here. Okay, now if I put 10.56 and again run it, you will see we are getting false because this is a floating number and we are checking it against integer class type. Okay, that's why we are getting false. So let me again remove this 0.56 and run it again, so we have true. Okay, so what we have done in this part, we have assigned 10 to the variable. Then with the help of isInstance function, we are checking if the variable is an instance of int class or not, and we are assigning the result into isInt variable, and then we are printing it over here. Now let's talk about the next type of inbuilt function in Python, which is sequential function or sequence function. Okay, so in sequence function we will be talking about these three functions: list, tuple, and dict. So list helps us to convert an iterable into a list. Similarly, tuple helps us to convert the iterable into tuple, and dict helps us to convert the iterable into dictionary. So for an example, let's say that I have a tuple. Okay, I'm gonna give it my name, my tuple, in which I am saving three elements, 1, 2, 3. So I have a tuple in which there are three items, 1, 2, 3, and if I want to change the type of this my tuple to a list, or if I basically want to convert the tuple to a list, then what I can do, I can simply say my list equal to list function, and then I'm going to put the tuple name, which is my tuple, and then I can print this my list. And if I print my tuple also over here, you will be able to see the difference. My tuple. So let me run this. You can see over here that when I printed my tuple, it is getting printed with these brackets. Okay. When I converted my tuple to list and printed my list variable, you can see that we have the list over here with a square bracket. So what we are doing in this program, we are assigning a tuple to a variable my tuple, and then we are converting my tuple to a list and assign it to my list variable, or it's not a variable but my list, and then we are printing that list using this print my list statement. Now let's convert this my list into tuple again. Okay, so I'm gonna say my tuple 1 equal to, if I have to convert a list into a tuple, then I have to use this tuple function. So I'm just simply gonna put tuple, and within this tuple I would only need an argument which I want to change. So for me, my argument will be my list. Okay, so I'm just gonna put my list over here, and then I'm going to print my tuple 1. Okay, so now if I run it, you can see that this first print statement is because of this print statement my tuple. Then we have changed it into my list, or basically we have changed it into list, so that's why it's printing as 1 2 3 with this square bracket. Then again we are changing this my list into this tuple using this tuple function, and then we are printing it. That's why we have again this smaller bracket, and within this bracket we have 1 2 3 element. So we are converting my list to a tuple, and we are assigning it into my tuple 1, and then we are printing it over here. Now let's talk about the last function that we are going to discuss in the sequence function is dict. Okay, so let's say that you have a list of tuples. Okay, I have a list of tuples. When I'm saying list of tuple, this means that I have a list. Within that list I have a tuple. Okay, so first I'm going to give this square bracket which helps me to get the list. Okay, now within this I am going to give tuples. Let's say I'm going to give a comma 1, then I'm going to give the another item of list as a tuple, let's say b comma 2, then another item in the list as a tuple, let's say c comma 3. Okay, now if I print this list of tuple and let me run it, you can see, okay, we have a error, name of list is not defined. Again there is a mistake over here, list of tuples actually. Let me run it again. Okay, so now you have a list over here. Within this list you have three tuples, a comma 1, b comma 2, c comma 3. Okay, now if I want to convert the list of tuple to a dictionary, then I can simply say my dict equal to dict bracket, and then I'm going to give this variable list of, not variable but this list of tuples. Okay, now if I print this my dict and if I run this, you can see that it has been changed into dictionary. So what we have done over here, we have assigned a list of tuples to a variable list of tuple, then we converted this list of tuple into a dictionary and assign it to my dict, and then we are printing it over here. Now let's see another set of inbuilt function, which is input and output function in Python. Okay, so in our previous videos we have used a lot of input function, and throughout each and every video we have used the print function. Just to increase your knowledge regarding this print and input function, we are going to cover it and help you understand the basic of this print and input function. Okay, so let's talk about the print function first. So whenever you want to print something on your screen or as an output, you have to use the print function. Let's say if I want to print hello, any string, I can use this print function. Then I can give this bracket, and within this bracket I can give my values. And if I run it, then you can see that we have hello over here. So to print anything, we have to use this print function. And if we have to print multiple values within a single print function, then we can separate it by comma, and we can give the multiple values over here. Let me run it again, and we can see that we have hello 123 world. So to print multiple statements or multiple string or values, you just have to use comma with those values within the print function. Now let's talk about the input function. Okay, so if you have to take your input from the user, then you would be using input, and this input function by default will take the value as a string. So if you have to change that input value which you have got from user into integer, then you have to use int. If you want to change it to float, then you can use float. Else, if you just have to use a string, then you can use simple input function to get the input from the user. So let's say if I want to take user input, or I want to take the input from user, then I can use this input function, saying that input. Within this input function, I'm just going to write enter something, and then I'm going to print it. Print you have entered user input. So let me run this. So you have this hello 123 world from here, and then Python is asking me to enter something over here. So let me put my name over here and press enter. So now you have this output which says you have entered Atul Anand. So this line, user input equal to input enter something, it displays the prompt to the user to enter something and waits for the user to enter some text, which is then assigned to this user input variable. Then this print function helps us to print whatever value we want to print on our screen. Now let's talk about the last sort of inbuilt function that we are going to discuss in this video, which is utility functions. Okay, so within this utility function we are going to discuss about range, enumerate, and zip function. So this range function helps you to generate a sequence of number. Enumerate function returns an iterator that produces pair of index and value from an iterable, and zip function aggregates the element from multiple iterables. So until unless you use this in a program, it will be very difficult to understand this enumerate and zip. So let me write a simple program for range, and then I'll explain it to you. So let's say I want a number range from 1 till 10. Okay, so if I put number range equal to, so I have declared this number range variable. With this variable I'm going to use this range function. Within this range function I'm going to put my starting number, which is 1, the stop number or the last number is 10, and the step by which I want to increase the starting number again and again. Okay, so this is 2. Then I'm going to use the for loop, saying that for number in number range print number. So now if I run this, you will see that we have 13579. So what we have done over here is that we have created a range of number starting from 1 till 10, but not including 10. Okay, 1 till 9 with a step of 2 and assign it to the number range variable. Then with this line, for number in number range, we are iterating through each number in number range. and then we are printing that number. Now let's talk about enumerate. So let's assume a scenario that you have a list, and let me put the name of the list as my list equal to A, comma B, comma C. Okay. Now if I have to get the index of each element of my list, as well as I have to get the list value, saying that I want the output like 1, or let's say 0A, 1B, and 2C. So at 0 index I have A, at 1 index I have B, at 2 index I have C. So if I need this structure of data, then I can use the enumerate. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use a for loop, saying that for index, comma, value in this enumerate function, and within this enumerate function I'm going to give this my list over here, and then I'm going to print this index and the value. Okay, so let me run this first. So you have 0A, 1B, 2C, which I had written over here, okay, earlier. So what we have done over here, we have assigned a list to the variable mylist. Then over here we have iterated through mylist, providing both index and value using this enumerate function, and then we are printing the index and the value, corresponding value for each and every element in the list. Now let's talk about zip function. So the zip function does nothing but it basically creates a pair, or each pair within the given values. Okay, so let's assume a scenario. With this example you will able to understand what is the use of zip. Okay, so let's assume that you have two list value, list 1 and list 2. With list 1 I'm giving the numeric values like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, with list 2 I'm just going to give the characters A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, now if I print list 1, and let me copy this and put it again and put list 2, print list 2. So if I run this, you can see that you have the two list over here, 1 2 3 4 5, A B C D E. Okay, now what if I want both of these two lists to get paired with each other, saying that I want the output like this: 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D, and 5E. This we can get using the zip function in Python. Okay, so let me comment it out. So in order to do that, you just have to take an variable. Let's say we are taking the variable zipped list, and then in this zipped list I'm going to use the zip function. I'm going to provide the name of the list which I want to create the pair with. Okay, so list 1 comma list 2. Okay, and then I'm going to print it. So if I print this zipped list, let's see what happens. So if I print it, you can see that we are getting the object over here. Okay, we are not getting the actual output like this. In order to get the actual output like this, we have to iterate through each of the item in this zipped list. Okay, so let me do that. So if I'm gonna say for item in this zipped list, okay, print item, and now if I run this, you can see that we have 1A. Oh, let me remove this, else it will create confusion. Again, run it. 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D, and 5E. So in this program, if I go one by one or line by line, what we have done, we have assigned a list of number to variable list 1. We have assigned a list of character to this list 2. With this zip function, we zips the list 1 and list 2 together, creating pair of corresponding element and assign it to the this zip list. And then from here, we have basically iterated through each pair in the zipped list, and we are printing that pair over here. So these example demonstrates how Python inbuilt function can be used to perform various common tasks easily and efficiently, right? So if we talk about that why we should use inbuilt function, then there are multiple reasons of using inbuilt function. First one is efficiency, second one is reliability, third one is readability, then we can say ease of use, portability, maintenance, and consistent behavior. Now if we talk about basically the efficiency, then this inbuilt function are implemented in C and it makes them faster and more efficient than any custom Python code. For example, if you're using sum, the sum function in Python, it would be much more faster than manually iterating through a list to compute the sum, right? Now, if we talk from the perspective of reliability, then these functions are thoroughly tested and optimized by the Python community, ensuring they perform reliable and correctly in a wide range of scenarios. So we do not have to think from the reliability perspective. Each and every inbuilt function is very reliable. Now, from readability perspective, using the inbuilt function makes the code more readable, more concise. For example, let's think of a scenario that we have we have this max function in Python, and we have within this max function, if I use this max list one, this list one, okay. So let me remove this sum, okay. If I run this, I can get 5 over here, okay. And in list 1 we have 1 2 3 4 5. You can see that the fifth 5 is the maximum value, so we are getting 5, right? So this max list over here is more readable than manually iterating through the list to find the maximum value, right? Now from ease of use perspective, these inbuilt functions provide a straightforward way to perform common tasks. It basically helps us to reduce the need of writing and debugging the custom codes. It allows us as a developer to focus on unique aspect of their projects rather than reinventing the wheel from scratch. From portability perspective, if you think about it, since the inbuilt functions are part of Python standard library, they are available on any platform where the Python is installed, and it helps or it ensures that the code using these functions is portable and consistent across different environment. If you're using this code on Mac, it would behave in the same way. If you're using it on Windows, it will behave in the same way, okay. Now let's talk about the last point, which is maintenance. So from maintenance perspective, the code that relies on inbuilt function is easier to maintain and update. As these functions are part of standard library, they are maintained and updated by the Python community. So you do not have to think about maintaining these inbuilt function, and it helps us to reduce the burden of individual developers to maintain this. Now, if we talk about the conclusion that we have after going through these many codes, is that the inbuilt functions are like a cornerstone of Python programming. It offers a wide range of functionalities that enhances efficiency, reliability, readability, and ease of use. Leveraging these inbuilt functions not only speeds up the development but also ensures the code is robust and maintainable. By using these Python inbuilt function, we developer or we as a data analyst can write cleaner, more efficient, and more readable code. And I hope to see you in the next video where we are going to learn about the user defined function, where we will be creating a user defined function without arguments. Happy learning and see you in the next video.